on 12:51 a.m.
and online.
This is Your Raw.
Now, our show may have a new name here at the Arts Department, but we've still got one of our most established guests joining us, as I'm delighted to be joined by John Gore, the film programmer for Warwick Arts Centre. Hello, John.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Pretty good, I think.
Good. Busy day? Busy?
It's keeping me out of mischief, more or less.
Well, now you're here to give us a exciting sneak preview at the upcoming film programme for Warwick Arts Centre, which I believe goes live on Thursday, if I'm correct in saying so. Now, I've just seen the trailers for these, and there's a real exciting mix of things coming up, that's for sure. So, what do we have in store?
Well, as you say, it's quite a broad range of stuff, because it's there to appeal to lots of different audiences. But I suppose key thing is this time of year, for some reason, people get obsessed with exams and stuff like that.
They're a big part of our life, sadly.
Offer a bit of light relief. So in the mix this time we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is absolutely that will sort of take you to another world for
quite literally.
And I think you'll find that quite rewarding. There's Alien Covenant also coming up, which follows that franchise in a different direction. It's more sort of prequel stuff. I've yet to see this myself, but I shall be seeing it early next week. But it looks fairly spectacular. It's Ridley Scott in control, so I'm fairly confident about that. And the other film's been out for a little bit now. For some reason got really sort of iffy reviews, but Ghost in the Shell, I think, is one of the most interesting sci-fi movies that I've seen for a long time.
Well, seeing the trailer for it, I was really intrigued by just its premise and just the, wanting to see it. And I know it's been surrounded, the film's been surrounded by the controversy over Scarlett Johansson's casting, and I think that's overshadowed, I think, a lot of the film. But you're saying this is one that people should still seek out, despite...
I think it's really interesting in terms of the debate about artificial intelligence. I think it's interesting from the point of view of gender representation. And, well, it's full-on Sartrean existentialism, about meaning of life and being and doing and that sort of thing. It's been accused of whiting out the character, but I think they missed the trick somewhere, because when you look at the original, because this was originally an anime from about 20 years ago, that goes to great pains to say this is a future where race has been eliminated, and that what you're looking at is the ghost in the shell. It's the mind in the body, and the body therefore is more or less disposable and replaceable. They've not made that distinction clear in the American remake, and I think that is their fault. Because actually it doesn't really make an awful lot of difference in the context of the narrative. And it's very much future world, and it's working at quite an abstract level, I suppose. But no, I think they were foolish to just overlook that, really.
Yeah, so it's definitely one people should still go and seek out.
It's really worthwhile, and it will give you plenty to talk about.
Oh, brilliant. Now, actually, I've got a couple of highlights, actually, from the things coming up. Now, you have mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Big fan of the original, and seeing from the trailer, they're still, using the old throwback tunes in the trailer. And I think the reviews are just coming out for that at the moment, and I think they're looking okay, I think, and pretty solid. But I think it looks like it's going to be certainly a riot. But moving on, Their Finest, I believe, is one that's coming up here.
I've been waiting about 9 months to put this on. I saw it in Toronto in September and absolutely loved it. I mean, it's a very sort of mainstream kind of movie, story of girl from the Welsh Valleys during the Second World War, drafted into a film unit making patriotic films to write female dialogue, or as they rather indelicately call it, slop. And this is Gemma Arterton and Sam Claflin, and that's kind of, it's beautifully observed because it's very affectionate and very detailed in its representation of what it's relating to, the films of the 1940s. You'll recognise the style instantly. They do it beautifully. Gemma Arterton is very much becoming the nation's sweetheart, I think, and lead actor for this production that she's working on is Bill Nighy, being his best Bill Nighy, and you cannot but love him, really. And there is this kind of underlying gentle feminist message working its way through it. It's directed by Lena Scherfig, the Danish director, and it is just joyful stuff. It's really, really good for the soul.
I mean, I think I've seen the trailer quite a few times now, and it's one that I'm really looking forward to. And my parents are, I think, off to see it this weekend, and they're so looking forward to it.
Definitely something comfortable to take your parents.
I mean, Gemma Arterton,
without doing it any disservice, it's a joy.
It's a joy, and Gemma Arterton, like you said, it's got a good cast. I think she's really a fantastic actress, and I remember seeing her in The Girl with All the Gifts last year, actually at the Arts Centre, and she's just brilliant. And I know that she started off going, I read an interview with her, and she started off going to America and being in these big blockbusters, but she ended up saying that she was kind of dissatisfied with the roles she was being offered, and so she's come back to Britain, done theatre, and then has taken on more of these kind of strong independent characters.
I think she's got quite a lot of integrity in that respect.
She really does.
And, admire her for that. But she's also got this real sort of ease about her, which allows her to sort of fit comfortably into various different genres and moods. And, very impressive.
She's brilliant. So when will Their Finest be coming?
That's coming up early in May.
Okie dokie.
Also, I mean, the other real standout movie for me in May is Chanwoo Park, The Handmaiden.
That's one of my next highlights.
It is beautiful. I mean, if you've not seen Korean movies before, you really ought to see this. This is a wonderful place to start. It's an adaptation of a novel by Sarah Waters called Fingersmith. I mean, there was a TV version of that a few years ago. But they've transferred it to Japanese-occupied Korea in the 1930s and 40s. And it's three approaches to the same storyline of deception and betrayal and blackmail and all sorts of nefarious goings on. But it is very lush and sensuous and sensual, in fact, and it is just pure joy to sit down and indulge in this for 2.5 hours. It's fabulous.
I mean, the trailer just looked gorgeous, and it made me really want to see it. I think it really did a great job of building tension and it really evoking kind of a strong feeling of, right, that's a film I've got to go and see, despite not necessarily being something people would generally go and seek out. So it's brilliant to hear that it's certainly worth seeing. So we'll look forward to that. Another film I believe we've got coming up is Get Out, which is a film I've actually yet to see, but I've heard a lot about, and I'm aware it's been done massively well in America. And I believe this is coming to the Arts Centre, and is certainly one that's worth seeing.
Yeah, it's I sort of missed out on it when it first came out, but I've put it in as an end of term treat because it bills itself as a horror movie, and it kind of plays like that to a certain extent, but it's actually the most delirious social satire of very, very white girlfriend taking her black boyfriend home to middle America, and what transpires there is like something out of the Stepford Wives. It's kind of everything taken to extremes, and it's beautifully played. It's a debut feature, and it's just thoroughly subversive, and you'll laugh a lot, but it still works as a horror movie.
Yeah, but the trailer really, was like, I'm not a massive fan of horror, but that one seemed to grab me.
At the moment, there's a sort of trend for actually rather more interesting horror than just the sort of boo and lots of gore and dismemberment.
Yeah.
And this is one such, because what there is there are some suitably scary and gory bits in it. But more importantly, it's just working on your mind all the time, and it's very clever.
Brilliant. And so that's coming, do you say, towards the end of
That's
term?
coming June, yeah.
Brilliant. And one more, I actually had a highlight. I believe you haven't seen it yet, but My Cousin Rachel, which I thought looked gorgeously gothic from the trailer I've just seen.
Absolutely.
So this is based on Daphne du Maurier's
That's right.
novel.
It's shot in Poldark country here.
Yeah.
And Rachel Weisz plays the Rachel of the title. I mean, du Maurier has been adapted for cinema a lot. When you think about, The Birds or Rebecca or Don't Look Now, and loads of stuff from the sort of 30s and 40s. I think there was a TV version of My Cousin Rachel probably about 20 years ago. So it's not been seen for a long time. And as you say, it does look very lush and very sort of British costume drama and adaptation. And but I've got a lot of time for Rachel Weisz as an actor. I think she's really interesting and very sort of subtle but strong, powerful performer.
I know what you mean, because I saw her in The Light Between Oceans that came out fairly recently, and I thought she was incredible in it, because bearing in mind the lead characters were Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander, Rachel Weisz's character comes in quite late into the film, and she's battling these two, quite heavyweight actors, and she really manages to, I think, hold her, make it and hold her own in the film. And she's an actress that I've, been long a fan of, so I'm excited to see her in this. And I thought the trailer just really looked fantastic, and there was a really lovely kind of eerie version of Wicked Game, I think, accompanying it. So that's definitely one to check out. If you could give me, John, your top 3 picks coming up in the next term at the Arts Centre, what would they be?
Their Finest. We talked about The Handmaiden. There's a lot of quirky, interesting stuff, which I'd really encourage you to go and see. This is the time of year that you get the interesting stuff coming out. For example, I Am Not Madame Bovary is a film made in Cantonese. And it's a satire about Chinese political and local political life and corruption, dare one say. But it's shot in a number of different ways. At points the screen is vertical rather than horizontal. At times it's purely circular. And the film is subtitled in English and in Mandarin.
Oh, wow.
And it's
simultaneously?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of playing to this whole sense of difference and otherness. And yet it's a very sort of day-to-day story of a woman who refuses to take no for an answer.
Right.
So, that's something that's going to be very different.
And that was, I Am Not...
I Am Not Madame Bovary.
I Am Not Madame Bovary. It's one to check out.
Yes. Likewise, I Am Not Your Negro, which is a documentary by James Baldwin, the American writer, who was very much active during the 50s and 60s, and I suppose more of a commentator than an activist in the civil rights movement. I don't think that's doing him a disservice. But he tells the story of the civil rights movement through the eyes of, or through the actors' actions of 3 key members of the movement. So Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. But he is an extraordinarily lucid, articulate, measured narrator about the situation. It's compelling stuff, and it is still alarmingly relevant.
Brilliant. So quite a few then top picks there.
There's something for everyone. You'll not be bored.
No, certainly not.
This is the perfect distraction from stress, frustration, and overwork.
Which I think every student loves to hear. So make sure everyone checks out the website for more details on the dates and times of these. Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming in, John. And I've no doubt you'll be coming back to visit us in the department soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you.